What is going on, guys? I am Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today we are going to talk about Zach Wilson, which is a topic that comes up a lot among Jet fans, and there are two very heated sides to this debate. It feels like, anyway. You have the staunch Wilson defenders who will go out of their way to, put blame pretty much anywhere else except for the quarterback, and then it feels like you have people who are so against Zach Wilson that they put a majority of the blame on him. And I personally don't think all the blame deserves to go onto Zach Wilson. I think there are many factors that go into his struggles. I think offensive players, penalties, the play calling, there's a lot that goes into the reason for the struggles. But in addition to all those things, the quarterback also isn't doing enough. They have 36 possessions in a row without scoring a touchdown. In the modern NFL, that is incredibly difficult to believe. In today's world, they make it so easy for offenses to score. And, sure, it's not, not every team is going to be Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs or Tyreek Hill and Tua and the Miami Dolphins, but it's usually you're not scratching and clawing just to find your way to maybe one touchdown. And for the last two games, the Jets have not scored a touchdown. In fact, they haven't scored a touchdown. You have to go back to the first half against the New York Giants, which is multiple weeks ago at this point. That's not normal. 36 possessions in a row without a touchdown is not a normal occurrence. Even bad teams and bad offenses, that's not something that is usual to see in an NFL offense. You look at the red zone. They are the NFL's worst red zone offense, scoring a touchdown on 22.73% of their trips to the red zone. For some context, the league average is roughly 53%. They are nowhere close to just league average. Even if they were bad, they would win more games. They are worse than bad. They are, again, last in the league, bottom of the barrel. Third down conversion percentage is 25%, worst in the NFL. They have the worst red zone offense and the worst third down conversion percentage. And like I said, it's evident that it's not all on Zach Wilson. It's not all just one player, but it's clear that they need to do something different. They can't just have this same recipe on offense week after week after week and not see any changes. Sometimes in sports, the biggest thing you can do is make a change and hope it sparks something for a positive. And that's not even not just in sports, but in life itself. Mental health, much like physical fitness, is essential for peak performance. That's why I've worked with a therapist for the last 8 years to help me with some anxiety issues and talk through some problems that I'm having in my personal life, whether it be work-related, relationships, just general life anxiety. I always found that talking with the therapist was the best way to deal with those issues. It's about finding strategies to handle the pressure, whether it's on or off the field. That's where BetterHelp steps in, our sponsor for today's video. They've revolutionized the way that we approach therapy, removing barriers such as location and the daunting task of face-to-face meetings. BetterHelp connects you with over 30,000 licensed therapists that are available through calls, video chats, or even messaging. It's flexible and it totally works around you and your schedule. Signing up is really easy. You just go to betterhelp.com/Matt O'Leary. If you use that link, you'll get 10% off your first month. It helps support the channel, but more importantly, it helps support you starting a healthier chapter. You fill out a questionnaire, and in most cases, within 48 hours, someone will be back to you with a therapist linked. And if for whatever reason things don't work out with that therapist, you could change your therapist for no additional cost. If you're looking to make a positive change, click the link down below in the description and the pinned comment. BetterHelp might just be the team that you need behind you. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring and for offering a service that champions mental wellness. The Jets, in my opinion, really have two options. They could either change the play caller or change the quarterback. There's really not a whole lot else the Jets could do at this point in season. Would it have been nice to have different options at the quarterback position? Probably. Like, you can get on Joe Douglas and this regime for not adding someone in March or April, and then when Aaron Rodgers went down in September, and then again at the trade deadline. Those are all fair criticisms and criticisms that I hold of, this staff. But with the pieces that they actually have, you have two options. You can either, again, change the play caller or go to a different quarterback. And there are other quarterback options in Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian, who, for whatever reason, the Jets refuse to elevate to the active roster. They're not necessarily this great, grand, obvious choice, but I just don't think it's all that likely that they would change the play caller due to his relationship with Aaron Rodgers. I think the only reason that Nathaniel Hackett is here is because of Aaron Rodgers. And we saw Hackett and Rodgers have success in Green Bay, and without Rodgers in that formula, he's looking, frankly, like Adam Gase, an Adam Gase level coach, where they just don't have anything going for them on the offensive side of the ball. It's really something like I've never seen before. Truly, it's remarkable almost how inept they are on the offensive side of the ball. But it's either, like I said, that's your two options. And do you go to Todd Downing, who I don't think Todd Downing was a great offensive coordinator, but it's clear that they need a spark. And that would be my only other option is, okay, let Todd Downing call the plays, but I don't think that's a realistic option for them to do. Because of, again, the relationship that Aaron Rodgers has with the play caller. And with Rodgers coming back next year, I think the whole staff and the whole regime is getting a pass for this year, and they're coming back, and we could talk about maybe another time if that's the right call, or if that's, the right or wrong decision, but that's just my feeling on it. And for someone like Zach Wilson, while he has made improvements, there is no denying that Zach Wilson has gotten better. The question is it enough for the rest of this offense? And it's not enough for it to make a tangible difference, because they are still struggling to get the ball in the end zone. I saw a stat talking about Zach Wilson's 20 career passing touchdowns on 931 career passes in general. That at 2.1% touchdown rate is the lowest in NFL history for anyone who has ever attempted 900 passes or more. He has struggled for 3 years to get the ball into the end zone at a rate that has never really been seen before in the NFL. And again, that's not taking away his improvement that he made from this offseason into this year. He's a backup quarterback. That's how we're looking at him for this year. I understand that, but why it's so taboo to even consider maybe making a change at the quarterback position to help spark something is something that really I don't quite understand. There's 2 to 3 splash plays with Zach Wilson every week, and a few wow throws for the Allen Lazard play in the game this past week against the Raiders is a perfect example of that. I thought, that there's moments where he's like, wow, that's an unbelievable throw, or that's an unbelievable play. And then there's the head scratching moments, like the interception in a really bad spot. And there was a play where he made it very obvious where he was going with the football. Everyone knew he was going to Allen Lazard. Or the intentional grounding penalty. Or the fumbles have been a big issue. He has 11 turnovers in 9 games. I know the interceptions have gone down. He has 6 interceptions this season, and his turnover-worthy play percentage is down. But the lost fumbles count. He's got 5 of those also. He has 9 fumbles, 5 of them lost in 9 games. That's a lot of fumbles, man. I don't think it's the 2 to 3 splash plays are enough. And they, I think, are starting him and holding out that hope because they see those wow moments, but they're also not coaching to take advantage of those wow moments. 17 offensive touchdowns in Zach Wilson's last 16 starts. 17. It's a little over 1 per game. That's a big sample size with a lot of different weapons, with Breece Hall, without Breece Hall, with different formations of offensive lines, with Elijah Vera-Tucker, without Elijah Vera-Tucker, with Mekhi Becton, without Mekhi Becton, with Corey Davis, without Corey Davis, with Garrett Wilson. With 2 different, the biggest one's the coordinators. Is they made the change at coordinator. They used Mike LaFleur as the scapegoat for last year. They move on from Elijah Moore, and they move on from Mike LaFleur, and they bring in a new offensive coordinator, hoping that it would change things, and they would bring in a new quarterback as well. But it hasn't been enough yet, and I think that's what some fans are missing from the Zach Wilson debate. Is while yes, we have seen tangible progress, and yes, it is not 100% on Zach Wilson. I think if you have to play a card as the head coach. You can't just sit there and with the same formula, meaning the same play caller, the same offensive pieces, the same quarterback, and when it fails week after week after week, do the same thing. And what does that say to this defense and the special teams units who play their ass off every week? They play really good football. Really good. Defense held the Raiders to 16 points. That should be enough to win a game. We've seen other quarterbacks come in like Mike White, Josh Johnson, Joe Flacco, all move the football, all put up big yards and put up points in games. But for whatever reason, it's not working with Zach Wilson. And I think it might be time to try something different. I really do. And I would love for them to maybe just give Todd Downing, if you're going to roll with Zach Wilson, change the play caller, then okay. If that's the decision you want to make, but I think you have to make a decision. And I just think the repetitiveness of running it back with both Nathaniel Hackett and Zach Wilson and expecting something different to happen after for weeks now, almost half a season, seeing that it hasn't worked, I think that's where the frustration lies for me. So let me know. I want to hear your thoughts down below. I'm Matt O'Leary. I'll catch you next time.